Hi there, welcome back to the stream. Unless you are still here, it's more of a welcome back from me to you, because I'm back. Our next team is Bunny Box Games, and after that we are gonna have two teams which actually pre-recorded their gameplay, so you're gonna have a some nice footage from the developers with some insights from their games. But that's gonna be after Bunny Box Games show off their project. And if you'd like to give them some exposure or just share the stream because you enjoy it, make sure to use the hashtag ProtoPlay on your social media, and any links you need are below me and below the channel if you scroll down. So without further ado, let's do it. Hello, hello.
Hello? Hello.
Oh, hello. Double hello from two people. Would you like to introduce yourselves and your team and your game, of course?
Well, I'm Andrew. I'm our lead level designer, and Dan is our fearless leader.
Ooh.
Hello. You arrive in town. It is it's an RPG light set in a tabletop RPG inspired world, where you go around completing quests and earning gold in time-based levels. And you can go around, you upgrade your equipment. It's got sprinkled RPG elements in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Very
simple, nice. You ended the sentence like there was gonna be an entire lore behind what you said, but no, right to the point. We'll discover it as we talk.
You gotta play the game for that.
Yeah, there is a story that we've had wonderfully narrated. You can explore a little bit of it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's not the full section at the moment, but you can find that on our demo. Plug the socials.
Plug the itch. Yeah.
Well, that's exclamation mark Bunny Box Games in the chat to get the socials up on the screen on your monitors or whatever devices you got in the chat. So, inspiration for the game. I think it's a first tabletop-like game we are seeing in the entire ProtoPlay so far, as far as I recall. So, what made you decide on this sort of genre?
Well, we're all, to put it lightly, massive D&D nerds.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of figured, well, we're not animators, plain and simple. So we thought, well, we kind of imagine little minifigures running around on the table. So actually, we could make something out of this. So we decided to.
Mm-hmm.
And, the fact that we enjoy the medium, there's a wealth of stuff to draw inspiration from available out there, both official and community.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided, this sounds like a great thing to work on, and so far it's been pretty good fun.
So it's been... Sorry, go on.
As for a gameplay side of inspiration, we kind of lent into Overcooked. That's a very big influence.
Ooh,
we've kind of diverted slightly from that, but kind of the chaotic element with 1 to 4 players, we've kind of moved towards a more RPG as opposed to a couch co-op side of things.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice. It seems that it's been more of a real life influence that had on the choice of your theme. Like you said, you play a lot of D&D, so you almost wanted to represent what you like, but as a video game.
Yeah, well, it was kind of, if we could run the dream campaign where we could, have all the environments set up how we want, cheesy dialogue, the stupid story, how would we want to run the campaign? And it's just like, okay, let's make this into a game.
Ah, I see. Fair enough. Now you're in charge of all of it. You can create whatever you would like.
Don't remind us.
What aspect of the project are you the happiest with what you managed to achieve?
We really like the art style. A bit biased. As Andrew said, we none of us are artists officially. We all come from a design background, so we're very limited on our 3D modeling skills and our animation skills. So we kind of let into that and went for a voxel-based art style. We have a bit more of a realistic one in the surroundings, but within the actual game world, it's all voxels, which I think helps differentiate them, and it just adds a nice quirky art style that's a bit unique.
Cool.
If I was going to put my favourite, I'd probably go with the music. We talked to a mate of mine, Lewis Hart, who did us a wonderful job on a full OST for all of the game. I think it's something like 14, 15 tracks now.
Dang.
Most levels have a fairly unique one. There's zone themes, boss themes. He did a wonderful job on it. And it's okay. Again, we are pretty biased here. We think it sounds pretty good, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, you should be happy of your project. I don't think it's necessarily bad. What about things that you would be looking to change in the foreseeable future?
Dan, I think. Next one.
We have a few stretch goals, but it obviously depends on the outcome of everything. We would like to push for online multiplayer because right now it's only local multiplayer, 1 to 4 players. So I think, especially in this environment, getting online multiplayer working would be a real nice bonus and would help connect people who wouldn't be able to play it in its current state. The game is also very modular, so just as much time as we can afford to expand on the levels and the items and enemies and whatnot. Just extra content in general would be nice.
So you feel like you got the solid basis for the game you wanted to make, essentially.
We have all the core mechanics down.
Yeah,
So it's just a point of expanding that at this point.
Yeah, point of mainly polish, to be honest. We currently have 4 chapters, 10 worlds per chapter, which are all there, pretty much ready to go. They really need this balancing pass that we're still in the process of doing, because where it's kind of quite hard to test the 26th level without doing a full playthrough in front of it, then have to adjust that and go back is quite it's annoying, it's time consuming, but we're getting there. Yeah.
Okay, what about the gameplay? Because what I'm seeing is you've got in terms of visuals and the setting, it's almost like it's a board game, right? But in terms of input and the gameplay, it's not turn-based. The player is actually able to interact with the game as everything is happening.
So it's real-time, kind of modeled, again, to mention Overcooked. Really simplistic controls. Literally move, attack, interact, throw. And then I think we have a special for using your item. But we wanted to go for as simple as possible. Because one of the things that can put people off of RPGs is the sheer complexity of what you're walking into. So we feel if we can kind of introduce people to the kind of setting, the customization, because we have a full gear customization thing available, I think we should show it, that you can then customize what you bring in and it affects how you participate as part of the team. And we kind of wanted to introduce that easier, lighter, simpler.
Yeah. So it's almost like you scoped down, but not even on your development plan, but on the actual concept of what an RPG is to make it more accessible, which I think is quite brilliant.
Yeah, there's a big hurdle to get in there.
With many of RPGs, certainly. Speaking of scoping and planning, how was it like to enroll onto Transfuser? How did the scope change? What was it like?
It was really good to get into Transfuser because it helped. The deadlines are a good part of keeping a good structure to development, and so it kept it very structured, very consistent in the progress that we were making, which otherwise wouldn't have been there as much.
Yeah.
It would have more wavered off and slowed down at parts, but it helped keep the team together and consistent with the work that we kind of pumped out.
Yeah, our team is full of self-admitted perfectionists, so it'd be like, oh, we'll just change this level slightly, change this level slightly, change this level slightly. Where did the last month go?
I see.
So having the deadlines is a really good help to, keep us on track.
That's great to hear. What about the community side of things? Did you have teams from Transfuser play your game, maybe give you some feedback or any guidance you maybe had from professionals and such?
We've had quite a lot of good feedback from both other teams and friends and public people. We've kind of been pushing on our Twitter. We put out a lot of tweets over the duration, and we have feedback forms that people can submit to help us kind of redirect our focus on certain things that might be lacking in the game.
I see.
We've got some really good feedback in general, though. Yeah,
it stops us getting too close to the game, which is really important, particularly to keep yourself in scope.
Yeah, how was that for you actually? Because like we discussed, it was something that came from your real life passions, right? Not that games aren't part of real life, but it was more, hands-on, face-to-face experience that you wanted to transition into a video game, right? So,
Yeah.
Was it hard for you to sort of detach yourself from your game and know that it's like almost like bigger than you in a sense?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, we did kind of when we started from kind of our D&D loves. It's like, okay, well, this the kind of the character customization side, and we realized we wanted initially like different races that you could customize and specialize into further, but then we kind of had to take a step back and we realized, do we really need this to properly get across the RPG feel? We eventually decided, no, we'll keep it simple, and we moved to the item system. It's tough to kind of cut things down when you want to make the best thing possible, but we wanted to keep ourselves focused and avoid crunch as much as possible.
Yeah,
So,
we really set ourselves like strict like barriers at the start, deadlines, because like all the content that's in the tabletop like fantasy themed worlds, you can have like dozens of different environments and however many enemies. We really wanted to we're all very passionate and we all wanted to get our own little bits in, but we really focused on what we needed as opposed to what we wanted to put in, just to get the concept across and make a working game.
Yeah, to do what we had justice as opposed to do a lot of things very naffly.
No, certainly. I think it's a really, from players and a game design perspective, I think it's really good to polish up the small bits and show that off to really get the sense of what's to come, rather than presenting a lot but unfinished stuff, right? So I certainly agree with that. We had a question in the chat about the time it took you to get to what we are seeing right now on the screen, because I know you started since the transfuser, right? Plus a week. We get some information in the chat. So how long was that in total, or maybe did you have that concept in mind before the transfuser?
Okay, so we kind of had a between university ending and the start of transfuser and everything, we kind of had kind of a fortnight, which we pushed a couple of ideas out. The first idea didn't go anywhere, but then about halfway through, we spent that last week really pushing the initial prototype for this, the initial idea and concept. It's changed a lot from that, but yeah, we've basically been working on it from a week before transfuser. Yeah,
Basically the end of August is when major development ceased. I mean, we've been doing a lot of kind of touch-up work throughout September, kind of smoothing out the environment. Do we really need this? Adding more decals, more meshes, prettying the whole lot up, and then trying to balance it. But yeah, the main development time was week before transfuser through to August, really.
Well, great job with creating what you have created. Someone was quite impressed in the chat as well that the numbers of levels you got on the chapters it's huge. It's huge. And given the fact that you told us that you don't do art and that's why you went with voxel, it's still impressive to see how clean of a project you managed to achieve. It looks really good and professional, I would say.
It did lead to a bit of a stress point in the end of August as we realized, hang on a second, we've got 20 levels to go and not that amount of time. It ended up being, I would say we tried to avoid crunch, but we did end up at crunch. But we pushed it out. We see kind of bits and dribs and drabs throughout various trailers, but we're happy with what we've produced. Some point during July, we did cut an environment because it was supposed to be 5 different environments, 8 levels each, which we then cut down to 4 environments, 10 levels, just simply to keep the number, but to reduce the amount of assets we were making because we realized we just do not have the time for this.
I see. Well, let's talk about target audience then. Bit of a topic change. You are D&D players, right? Would you like your D&D colleagues, perhaps, and any other D&D Dungeons and Dragons, for anyone who doesn't know the acronym, enthusiasts to try out your game?
We would love it. We even kind of thought this when we were kind of planning, well, how the hell are we going to get people to see this? Because you can make the best game in the world, but if no one sees it, no one cares. We actually pulled in a YouTuber, Runesmith, to basically voice act our game. He had great fun narrating it. Did a really good job. If you go play the trailer, it's him kind of doing the pre-level stories, the titles, that sort of thing. Got plans, kind of on a stretch goal, maybe pull them back to get in level like cues, like, hey, somebody's attacking this. But yeah, he did an amazing job and really want to kind of tap into the D&D market.
Yeah, the D&D market is kind of the perfect place to get people to play this game, because those people are the types of people who kind of get together on the regular anyway. So being a multiplayer game, it would allow them to all come together and play the game together in one room.
Yeah. Already looking at people that do meet on a regular basis in groups of 4 or more. So kind of made sense to kind of combine those two audiences.
Okay, perfect. That allows me to transition to the next thing, which is, well, the gameplay. Let's talk about the gameplay. How did you try to implement that experience that the D&D offers of interaction between players and the role-playing aspect into what we are seeing on the screen?
Largely, the D&D influenced our artistic side, but where it came into the gameplay was more from the item customization, to allow players to kind of build their own characters so that they feel more personally connected to them.
To feel like part of a team, really, to fit niches. Like, as you can see within the gameplay, there is both like a more overcooked kind of item collection and gathering and refining system, like, and there's also the combat side of things, which we kind of sprinkled in with the RPG side of things. And with the items, it really allows you to specialize into what part of the level you are going to be interacting with. So you can have damage buffs, but then you can also have things that help you collect things faster and process things faster. So it's real about specializing and coordinating on that side of things as well.
Awesome, cool. So, yeah, I see how you sort of you took the inspiration for visuals and the sort of a game board approach, but then made it an actual video game just inspired by that. So, good job. It's looking good. So now, what could a round of this game look like? Could you just talk me through it? I launched the game. What should I be expecting?
No, to be honest, it's kind of, you launch the game, you'll load into a level, you see 3-level pan, it shows you over a level, your story is being read out to you, you flip to the next kind of section of that, it then shows you your objectives to that level, it shows you the crafting chain for that level, because each one usually has its own specific one. There are themes within chapters. You start, then you have 2.5 minutes to make as much money or go towards your objective as much as possible. Be that killing things, crafting, defeating bosses, completing side objectives. We even have one where you end up herding llamas, because we liked the idea of llama farmer too much to not put that in the level.
Right. So within the level, the player essentially is looking to craft and score to get more gold?
Yeah. Okay. Then the amount of gold that you get on each level, if you hit the minimum, or the kind of main objective, you succeed, and then you take all of that gold you've earned in the level back out to the overall campaign, as it were, which you can then take to the shop, buy new equipment, buy more equipment so you can equip your party. One of the features we're most kind of proud of is that each of the items, their kind of cost is independent. So say you're playing with 3 people, buying one sword, or the first sword will cost you like 50 gold, but then the one after it will cost you 67, and increasing the more you buy. So it's to encourage players to diversify, use different items, and really make their characters more unique, as opposed to everybody has a sword, everybody has armor, everybody does the same thing, because it makes the people more unique to the people.
Right. I see. Okay. How are you looking to further develop this game? You touched on that before, that you just want to add in more content. But in terms of gameplay, would you be looking to make any drastic changes to that, or are you keeping it as it is?
I think a lot of that depends on player feedback at the minute. We are kind of hoping to refine a few systems. We've had some comments on combat, for example, and various other elements. We have all the core mechanics in, but I feel like depending on how people feel, we're very close to the game, so we are kind of used to how it works, whereas new people who come in might not necessarily like it. So it's valuable to take those comments and see how we can improve it for a general audience.
The main one that we want as a stretch goal is online multiplayer, because especially given the state of the world at the moment, mid-apocalypse and all, it just really helps get our game out to more people, let more people enjoy it.
So currently, I suppose you're looking to release on PC, and currently it's single player, that's my understanding.
No, it's 1 to 4 player. It's all local co-op.
It's local, yeah, that's what I was, yeah.
Yeah. So you only need one PC and then as many controllers as you have plugged in. It's a playable keyboard as well, if that's your preferred one. We've even sorted out the prompts for both of them, so you should be able to work it out fairly quickly. But yeah, 1 to 4 player local co-op at the moment.
I see. That's awesome. What about characters and in terms of progression? Would you offer all of the characters right away to the player, or would you be looking to maybe make some characters unlockable through whether it's progression through the chapters or collecting gold in the game?
Each player has their own character. There are no unlockable characters. What is unlockable, however, is increasing strength of gear. So early you might find leather armor or a pickaxe or something to use as a weapon. But the further and further you go through your adventure, you get more hero-y armor, actual suits of armor, swords, as opposed to just using the odd scythe you've just picked up from some random field that you've nicked it from.
Yeah, the equipment that you can gather is split between each character individually has 2 passive items that are always activated. They have an activatable item which goes onto a cooldown once you press a button, and they have a weapon that they start the level with that you have to kind of juggle around with the items that you're also carrying around on the level, which we kind of like how them 2 mechanics fit together.
I see. That's cool. I'm not sure you mentioned it. There is a lot of emphasis on the equipment. What about abilities? Do characters have abilities?
Each weapon has their own attack characteristics. So spears will let you attack them further. Swords have cleave. Daggers give you RSI by making you able to attack as fast as you can press your attack button. Bows attack from range. And combine that with the active items having their own effects. So there's health potions, speed boots, dash boots, a bunch of others that I can't remember at the moment. That kind of allows you to customize your character's abilities more towards what you want.
Yeah, so it's integrated with the equipment rather than the character. Okay.
Yeah, we basically, to simplify RPG down to as much as possible, just kind of stacked all of it onto the equipment side of it. So there's only one system that players have to interact with and understand in order to get the most out of the game and their gear.
I see. As the player is going through the level, is it possible for them... I mean, they have a health bar, so I would expect the player to be able to die from the monsters, etc. What's the sort of... Is there any mechanic in place to help revive them, or do they just revive on the next stage? How does that work?
It's more of a penalty as opposed to a huge setback, because the levels are time-based. The person who dies will go out for a specific amount of time. Right now it's 5 seconds, but obviously balancing will come into play. it's more of a setback rather than a kicking them out of the whole level for the time being.
I see.
But you can restore health with various potions and items, or on some level there's like taverns and inns that you can go to slowly regenerate for free.
Awesome. Well, there we go. You answered my question quite well. Thank you for that. I'm really liking the level design, how you've done we can see the board game, but it's not just an empty void or space. It's actually sitting on a table with a bunch of, I guess, D&D related things around. Books, tutorials.
Yeah, there's actually, we took inspiration from the D&D books that, everybody has to buy or, copy a PDF of, and there's actually a bunch of Easter eggs that we've customized the names on them. So if you're interested. Well, yeah, but you can kind of actually go around and explore the board and the kind of campaign map, and kind of casually and kick dice off the table when you're kind of choosing which level you want to load into.
That's cool. How does the campaign work? Is it linear, or can players just go into any level they want at any time?
So it's mainly linear. There is a progression path of levels through. You can go back and replay previous levels. So if you're struggling on like a later one, you're like, okay, let's go back to a previous one, earn some gold, come back with some more gear, or some more practice with mechanics, and then have another go. There are bonus levels, which if you complete certain objectives on certain levels, kind of deviate off to the side, which can then reward different items or opportunities for large cash payouts. So can really reward players for going off and doing them, but they're not required. It's kind of all the cool and weird environments that we wanted to play around with. So like ghosts or a slime level that we wouldn't make an entire environment around, but still wanted to do because it was really funny to have the skeleton mesh sitting in a giant green cube. Yeah.
I see. Well, I think you definitely should let loose the creativity on that one, because it sounds intriguing, we're gonna be coming to a close of the interview. Could you tell us, do you have any key milestones for the game? Any dates we can circle down and pinpoint in our calendars for your project?
I don't think so. I think it's
still up in the air at the moment.
Yeah, we kind of have a very rough estimate of about 6 months of development left.
But it depends on the outcome of Transfuser, obviously. I mean, there's plans that we have an inbuilt month experiment time to see if we can get online multiplayer working in the eventuality we do get funding. But it's kind of one of those that we're playing it as we go because we simply don't know. So, yeah.
I see. Well, now the stage is yours to do any shout-outs and sort of touch on anything we haven't discussed. We still got a minute or two if you'd like to go back to anything. And yeah, and you can give shout-outs to anyone you would like.
Okay, some shout-outs. We have Lewis Hart, who you've probably been hearing the music of, who did the whole OST, who we mentioned before. We have Logan Reese, who is Runesmith, the narrator. Alan O'Dear, who is our site coordinator at Staffs University. Callum, who is our site facilitator, who has kind of given us advice along the way, which has been really helpful and productive. And obviously Deborah and the people at Transfuser. So that's a huge thanks to them.
Our friends and family for putting up with us, I suppose, being locked in our room for 8 hours a day.
Well, but now we got a wonderful project out of it,
right?
Yeah.
You can always justify it to them with a clip from the stream. Look, this is what we've done.
It's nice to kind of finally see, I say, not the end of it, but the end of the beginning. We hope to be able to move forward with this.
End of the beginning. I like that.
Yeah. The prologue, if one would say. We hope to be able to move forward with this and kind of show that, this time that we have been, avoiding all social interaction with is worth it. But we'll find out, I suppose.
I feel like it's the case for many teams that actually participated. That it's almost like coming to an end of ProtoPlay and Transfuser, but it's also a huge start for most of you guys. So I got my, fingers crossed for everyone. I'm wishing you all best of luck, really. And
Thank you very much.
it really has been a really pleasure talking to you guys. So thank you so much for giving me the insights to your very passionate project. So I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
very
us.
much for having us.
Absolutely. Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.